And if you're ready like we're ready right now, take a look at what Jesus did for people like you and I.
Hello everyone, my name is Eze. I'm giving this testimony from England. I am the woman God has shown great mercy. October 2024, my 16-year-old daughter had a routine eye test. We all wear glasses in the house and we all know how the test goes. So we're like, after the eye test, we'll go for lunch. She did the eye test. It was taking long for them to call her and give her her prescription, whether or not her eyesight is better or, they have to change the prescription. And then the doctor just comes out. He was like, have you been having headaches? She said yes. And I was like, how does he know you've been having headaches? And then he calls me in. Long and short of the story, they saw a tumor, but he's not sure. So he's referred her to A&E. They're meant to call us that Sunday, but if they don't call us on Sunday, go first thing Monday morning. So we all went home deflated, didn't go for any lunch. And I was like, God, what is happening, So that was how my 16-year-old started going back and forth, seeing different doctors, the one for the spine, the one for the brain. At some point, they were like, there's fluid build up in the brain. They have to do a lumbar puncture in and out of school. And I'm like, nah, this is not acceptable, So that was November 2024. But I remember on one of those days, I switched on my Alexa, and the first video that came up was Pastor Jerry's message. Now, I can't remember the message. What I remembered was the prayers and the intensity. So something was like, girl, you need to change the way you pray, because of the season you're going into. The fasting period came, and in my head I'm like, which church will I fast with? And then my dear friend Cici sent me the prayer points for the first week of fasting for NSPPD. And I looked at those prayers. I saw, oh Lord, show me mercy. I saw what you saw before, you won't see again. I was like, wow, I like this, And that was how I joined NSPPD, through the fasting in January. For the first time in my life, I fasted. I enjoyed it. My prayer life has taken a significant turn positively. And then that prayer that Pastor Jerry used to pray, what they saw before, they will not see again.
Go back and check. What they saw before, they will not see it again.
I stood on that prayer because my daughter was still in and out of hospital. To the glory of God, what they saw before, they did not see again. They came back at the end of January and said, they can't see any tumor. She's fine. It's all gone. Indeed, what God cannot do does not exist. Pastor Jerry, thank you so much. There is revival going on around. Indeed, you are raising an army. In February this year, I traveled. And whilst I was boarding the plane, this lady comes up to me and she's like, I know you. And I'm like, I don't know you, She was like, I know you. So I mentioned where I schooled, where I grew up. She was like, no, I don't know those places. I was like, okay, maybe I look familiar to someone you know. And then we boarded the plane and she was sitting on the aisle close to me, and I saw her touching the ground and praying. And I was like, this lady is praying the O8 prayer. So in the course of the flight, she took off her jacket and she had this jumper where they wrote Elroy. Hey, I just signaled to her. I was like, I know you. She was like, hey, where do you know me from? I was like, what God cannot do, she shouted, does not exist. In the plane, we started hugging ourselves and jumping. Now people were looking at us and smiling. I was like, I'm sure there are NSPPD people on this flight. So Pastor Jerry, you are raising an army. We are grateful for you. We have seen changes in our lives. We thank God for you. And like I said, the King of Kings has ruled in my favor.